All right, good morning all. We're back to our series of tutorial for Spring Boot Angular projects. We have already started discussing the backend, but today we want to come up with CRUD. We want to come up with CRUD application. Okay. CRUD or CRUD application. Using Spring Boot. Okay, this is how the I is using Spring Boot and Angular. So we're going to combine the two technologies to have a complete system. Are we there?
Yes.
All right, and with this, I wanted us to go through a given tutorial here that talks about virtually everything. So we're going to follow the tutorial and do the necessary things with regards to what we have on ground. I think this is it. Okay, this is the URL for the tutorial, and we're going to use it throughout the course. Please correct the projector so you see correctly. The sheriff doesn't know what you say. Smith should do that. Good. This is visible, more visible. Why is he doing this? Please. Anyway. I don't think if it is the cable. Maybe how.
By mistake.
Okay. Right. So this guy says in this tutorial he wants to come up with a building of full stack Angular 10 Spring. Even though we're going to use Angular 18, the difference is not much. So he's going to come up with CRUD, and the backend server uses Spring Boot, while it uses Spring Boot Spring MVC web REST controller, and it uses JPA. Do we understand JPA? We're going to talk about it. Then it interacts with Mysql database, and then the front end is going to be what? Angular 10 in his own case, but ours is going to be Angular 18. So let's write this simple kind of something here. The project requirements. The requirements needed here. Number one, we need a Spring Boot. Then two, we need Angular, and three, we need Mysql. Spring Boot for the backend, Angular for the front end, and Mysql for the backend. I mean, for the database server. Then he talks about kind of Spring MVC and then Spring Data JPA. Those are kind of dependencies. We're going to talk about them. So please look at what he says, newer versions. These are like his tutorials or something. They're more practice on. If you want to know about Angular something. Good morning. Then good morning. Angular 10 and Spring Boot, but ours is going to be Angular 18. and Spring Boot 3. 3 Texas. Could be 3.4, 3.3, whatever. Then he says we built a full stack tutorial application, and that each tutorial has ID, title, description, publisher. So this is his, these are the requirements, right? The application requirement is going to, the tutorial must have ID, title, description, publisher. Then we create, retrieve, update, and delete. That is the CRUD, right? The CRUD. Then we can also find tutorials by title. That means that there's going to be search. So these are this is the application requirement, right? So let me get this. That is the functional requirement, right?
Yes.
So this is it. This is what the application does. Khalifa, سأتكلم بك فيما بعدين. هذا يعني شيء okay, sorry, I have a student here who doesn't understand English much. So this is the requirement. My write-up doesn't have to be very pretty, but then let's understand what is there. The images below. Then we have a text field, two text field, title and description, right? And then a button, submit. That is for the add page. Then for the retrieve page, you have this list of tutorials. Then you retrieve. Anyone we click, it retrieves. Then the tutorial, what is it? Update, right? The edit page. So maybe you want to update sort of tutorial 3 or something, sort of Angular, then you write and click on button update. This is a very nice something. Okay, so let's just dive into the real thing here. If you get the link, there is a video here if you want to go through the video, how he has done his work. So you can go through the video. So the backend, for the backend here, this is the overview of the backend. The API for the Spring Boot will export this. It is going to export the post, the get, the post, the get, two gets. One is to get the tutorials, that is entire tutorials, all tutorials, and the other one is to get tutorial by what? By ID. And then there is put request, the one that updates tutorial by ID. Then there is delete request, which does deletes by ID, and then there is delete request that deletes the entire tutorials. So these are the APIs that we are going to connect from the backend to the front end. Please let me make screenshot of this. I don't have much time to type here. Yes, that's good. So if you have questions, you can ask questions even though we are in video. If it is something lengthy, we can divide the video into sections or segments. Alright, then we have another get request that get by title or by keyword. You can specify what you wanted. Then you make, he says we make code operations and find method with Spring Data JPA, JPA repository, and then the database will be Mysql configuration, the dependency and all that. So the first thing now here is we needed these technologies. We need Java 17 or Java 11 or 8. So it all depends what you have installed in your system as your Java version. Then the Spring Boot is 3. He uses Spring Boot 3, I think step 2 or something. Then Mysql, and then he uses Maven. This is a very good tutorial. And from the view of what he has here under the folder structure, you're going to understand that he uses Eclipse, right? Yes. So we're going to use IntelliJ. It's not a problem. We're going to use IntelliJ. I think there will be a time when I'm going to use Eclipse. For now, I don't even have Eclipse in my system because I reloaded the OS. I have to install it. Everything is gone. Only the user data that is there. So the first thing we do here, let's introduce let's call our IntelliJ. Let's invoke IntelliJ here. Okay. And before we start IntelliJ, I think, okay, sorry, I don't want to confuse myself, please. Okay, it's all right. So first thing we do, we go to the official site of Spring Boot, which is spring.io, not Spring Boot alone, Spring Framework, spring.io. Then you go to Quick Start. We did this yesterday without video, right? So we are repeating with a realistic project now. Then come down here. I just want you to perfect your hands on this Spring Boot backend. We'll start projects here. So then our IntelliJ is loading, right? So it's like I have another IntelliJ. Is it the only one here? I think it's the only one I have. It's all right. Then you start your Spring Boot. Spring Boot what? Yes, the springboot.io. I want us to start the project right now. So please, the first thing you do is select project, which is here we've chosen Maven, here we've chosen Java, here we've chosen 3.3, that is the version. That's why I say version 3xx. It all depends what you want to go for. Then here, what is this? He talks about tutorials, right? I want to give you the name here. Sorry, this is our IntelliJ.
Call it mini project example.
Here he says something like yes, it's all about tutorials. So let me just say tutorial CRUD, okay, for batch A. I just want to give it name that we can always refer to, because we may work on it maybe even next week to accomplish everything. So one thing here, CRUD, sorry, let me rename it. Spring Angular CRUD, sorry, yes, CRUD. Tutorial project batch E, right?
Yes.
So please, you try to remember this as a something here. So here, let's come to the initializer, and then you write come to the example, right? This is the example. Good. Then mini project. So now you say mini as our package name, right?
Yes.
Mini project. Then what? The artifact name is the name of the project. Okay, name of the project. So the name of the project here could be tutorials project, right? Tutorials project. I don't want it to be so lengthy. This is okay. Then the description. This application is designed to handle all CRUD ops. To handle, let's just say CRUD or CRUD operations and tutorials record. Yeah, it is the record of the tutorial, right? Next is what? WAR. We've chosen WAR as a packaging extension or file. Then I've chosen 17 here. I have 17 installed and 21, but I want to go by 17. Then the dependencies. So for us to pick we can pick our dependencies that we know that it's going to work with the system. But let's check what kind of dependencies has he used in his like he hasn't talked about the dependencies yet. So let's check down here. What are the dependencies used by the tutorial auto here? So we can see dependencies. I told you if you want to check on dependencies, you can do that by checking on the pom.xml, right? The pom.xml here gives you the list of dependencies used. So I can see like he used okay, like he has combined some two things here. Okay, no issue. So he has used one dependency. I mean, I can see some dependencies here, but we know, okay, he was explaining. One dependency here is JPA, right? Another one here is web starter, and the next one is Mysql. So let's go by dependencies. We know it's going to work with the system. The first dependency is what? The web, right? Next dependency is what? The JPA. What is JPA, please? If I want to write query, how do I write query? How do I write query? I write query myself. JPA, Java Persistent API. Data persistence is a means for application to persist and retrieve information from a non-volatile storage. The Java Persistent API provide mechanism for managing persistence and object relational mapping and functions in them. You know, you can write your own query and you can make use of JPA. That's why you say retrieve all, you know, insert and all that. Then next is what? The Mysql driver. Thank you, because you wanted to go with Mysql. I think we can go with these things, but if you want, you can use Lombok. We'll be writing Lombok. Did you see the functions of Lombok? Then you can use validations. Of course, we'll add other dependencies later. So, but for now, I want us to start with this one. Please generate. Let me see. Spring Web JPA driver. I think this is okay. Just 5 dependencies. Generate it. When you generate, it gives you the file in a zip format. Please copy this file into our folder that we've already created here. We have already created the folder here. Please extract it. Extract it here, so you don't select anything. Yes, if you don't have WinRAR or any extraction application, you can just use your Windows extraction utility to do that. So already we have done that. Next is to open in our IntelliJ, and to do that, we already have one application open here. Please let me copy this application application property, so we don't waste time while creating it. Application property. Okay, then I will close this as a project. I'm closing it. Why are you taking time to close? Good. Then you open what you have extracted inside that folder, and the folder was Spring tutorials, right? I think this is it, right? Then you pick the first thing here for it to open and trust the folder. Yes, it is opening our application. It is syncing. While it is doing that, please come back to the tutorial. Okay, let me see if I have to allow something. Yes, So please, what do we do here? Come to the tutorial. Already, this is what the guy says. He talks about something here. He says implementation, that you create a setup Spring Boot, and then you create some. You can use either Spring Tool, you can use IntelliJ, you can use what? Eclipse. Okay, it's from JetBrains. They needed to install something. Yeah, IntelliJ. Then this is the POM. So he already has JPA. So let's check ours. Please check our. I hope my video is, yes, the video is running. Please, this is our folder structure, right? Yeah. Let's check the POM. We are using IntelliJ, not Eclipse. And in our POM, we have we have the starter for, okay, sorry, this is not a dependency. It's giving us the version of the Spring Boot or Spring framework we are using. Dependency, you come down, you see, okay. So the first thing here in our dependencies, the artifacts, we have JPA, NACE is validation, NACE is web. Okay, so you see we've seen these two. One is JPA, NACE is what? Web. Then we're looking for the third one, which is the Mysql connector here. Can you see? So we're done with the dependencies. Okay, the Mysql connector. Yes, the Mysql connector. This is it. That's good. So what next is to do what? To provide the data source. That's why I say we should. I have copied what we call the application property. Please, are you with me? Not all of you are talking. Please, if you want to understand what since I'm recording, just concentrate and look at what we're doing here. So in our structure here, we have the tutorials, the folders name, we have the IDE here, we have Maven here, Maven folder. We have the idea folder, that is the IntelliJ folder. Then next the source folder. That's where we are going to work. Then you click on main, click on Java. You're going to see your main. This is your main package, and this is your main class. That's where our applications start running. Then we have what? Resources, and we have our property here, application property. So for us not to see any kind of error message, let me copy this property, and then we're going to work based on ours here. This is the property, the application property. So please let me create a database, and then we try to connect to the database using these our application properties requirement here. So I think we're going to create a database here. We give it name tutorials project, right? Recording or something. Tutorials project record or something. So we're going to create database, and we give it name tutorials underscore records. Tutorials record. Let me just say tutorials record DB 2024 batch A. Okay, so this is the database name. So I'll copy it into here and I'll paste it. Then when by so doing, I'm done with no, it hasn't pasted, right? This is product management. Yes. Next is to run, to test whether the application is running. To do that, if you want to run by the play button here, you have to come to the main class, and then this is your main method, and you run. It start running, the application is running. Yes, the application is running. The app is running. It has run and no issue. This is because everything is in order. Are we there? Please, whenever you created a new project, this is what you do. You make sure that it is running before you continue doing anything. But before we continue, I will stop this video when I do one function. Let's test something. Let me go and delete this database. Drop it and see what will happen when we run. Drop database. This is just in a way to testify that our application is working. Okay, it says dropped, so let's run. This is the main class. Run. There's going to be a problem, is it? Why? Because the database doesn't exist. Can you see errors? Can you see stack trace and exceptions? It tells you what? Unable to obtain isolated JDBC. He says at the end, database tutorials record DB batch A 2024 NA not available. That's the meaning of NA. So you see, that means all these errors is just because of that. So let's go back and what? Create it. Let me drop this. Create it again. Okay, then let's run. This IntelliJ, I think it's in a proper shape. I like it. IntelliJ is very fast. That's why I like it. Even though I'm using the community version. So you see, now it's run without what? Without error. Let me stop this video here. We will name it A.